Hello everyone, welcome to Flow with Ali. Today I have a new type of class. I'll be breaking down basic and traditional postures that you will see if you go into a yoga class in a studio. In addition to YouTube, I also teach in a yoga studio, and I know it can feel intimidating to walk into a class. I hope this class teaches you the foundations, so when a teacher says cat, cow, warrior two, that you have some basic idea of where you're going and what you should be looking for in your own body, so you can start to feel the movements, self-correct, and learn the proper alignment. If you like this style of video, please let me know in the comments or hit like. Let's get started. Starting in easy pose or Sukhasana, you'll be sitting cross-legged. So this may seem very simple. It's something you've probably done since you were a toddler. But refining it for yoga, you want to scoot the fleshy parts of your seat to the side so you can feel your sit bones, essentially the bottom of your hip bones, rooted into the floor. And that just means that you feel really solid and you're aware of that connection between your hips and the floor. From your hips, you want to feel length. So you want to feel your spine elongated. So really just a long flat back, feeling yourself tall from head down to your hips. And it can be helpful to encourage that good posture by rolling your shoulders up and back and grounding your hands down on your knees. So palms face down. And then taking breaths. Sometimes you'll start with some mindful breathing or some simple warm-up poses from easy pose. Inhaling, reaching up through the fingers, pinkies pointing forward, and then turning your palms face out. Exhale, circle your arms down. So we'll do one more like that. This is a simple way to link breath to movement. Inhale, you'll be reaching up. Exhale, lowering your arms down. So we'll do that again, but this time just take your left arm up, and on your exhale, you'll move into a side body stretch. So you'll slide the opposite arm to the side and reach your top arm up and over while keeping both shoulders pointing straight ahead. Maybe it's towards your front mirror or the front wall of your space. Get it on an inhale, you'll rise back up. On an exhale, you'll take that side bend to the other side. So whenever you take an inhale, it's typically to lengthen or extend your arm, your leg. And when you exhale, you bend, you twist, crunch. So that's a typical rule of thumb for breath in yoga. From here, we'll take a twist. So inhale, you'll lengthen up. Exhale, you'll take your left hand and cross it over to your right knee. Your right hand behind your hip on the right side. Inhale, find length, sit up tall. On an exhale, you take the twist from your belly or the middle part of your spine, opening your shoulders to the side. One more breath like that. Inhale, find length. Exhale, open and twist. So you always want to sit up nice and tall before you twist. Good, then you unravel back to center and twist in the opposite direction. So reach for that opposite knee, hand comes behind your back. Inhale, sit up tall, lengthen up. Exhale, twist, open your shoulders. Another breath like that. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, open and twist from the belly button portion of your spine. Good, then come back to center, and we'll come to hands and knees, tabletop position. Hands and knees, so your shoulders should be directly over your wrists, and your hips directly over your knees, so you're like one big square shape. You want to really press the tops of your feet into the floor, into your mat, and spread your fingers wide. So whenever your hands are down on the mat, whether it be for downward dog or tabletop, you want spread fingers, because if you think about it, you want that solid base to hold your body up and to support yourself. So spread your fingers wide and keep a long spine here. I'll just show you child's pose. A lot of times you'll start your practice or rest in child's pose, and you'll sink your hips over your heels and stretch your arms long in front of you, resting your forehead on the mat. So sometimes for child's pose, you will have your big toes together to touch, and you can spread your knees wider. That'll get more of a hip opening in your body. There's a bunch of variations of child's pose, but basically it's hips over heels. They don't have to touch. Arms stretched out long, forehead down. You can always use a block under your forehead or under your hips. Good. And we'll come back through tabletop. And we'll cycle through cat and cow. It's a great way to warm up the spine, and you'll often see cat-cow from tabletop or from a seated position or even in some of your standing poses. So for cow pose, you'll move on the inhale and start to lower your belly, and you right away can feel a little bit of tilt in your hip bones. Keep your shoulders raised, broad across your chest, lift your chin up. Your throat and your chest are exposed to the front side of your mat. Pressing through your hands as you exhale, start to tuck your hips, draw your belly button up and in so you create that big round shape. Allow your head to go so the top of your head is pointing down towards the floor. And you can see how my entire body will be like a big rainbow shape. Your top of your back is like a domed ceiling. Couple more like this. Inhale, start to slowly articulate your spine by lowering your belly, lifting your chin, keeping your hips up, imagining your belly is like a hammock hanging low. Exhale, draw your belly button up, draw it in. Allow your head to dangle there, keeping those fingers spread wide. Press the floor away. One more cycle. Inhale, your belly will go low. You'll lift your chin up. And exhale, round your spine. Pressing from your hands, arching up and over like a rainbow, down to your knees. Good. And then you'll release back to neutral. And that's a great way to see how you link your breath to your movement, and that's a flow, a very simple flow. Now from tabletop, we will transition to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, lift your knees up, and start to straighten your legs. You don't have to lock your legs out. So you can imagine your body is the shape of an upside down V or a triangle. This is a great pose to spend some time on. Oftentimes you'll have several breaths to get comfortable here in your down dog. You want those fingers spread wide, that pressing motion through your hands so you're pushing your arms back. Your head will dangle so you can shake it no and nod it yes. So your head is hanging heavy so you're not holding any tension in your neck. You want a long spine, so you want to think about that length from your hips, that top point in your body down through your head. And it can help to really press your hips up, slightly tilt your hips, pushing back through your arms to get that long spine. And then you want to think about your feet as the other point of contact with the floor. Energize the backs of your legs so your heels are energetically drawing down toward the mat. They do not have to touch. Also your legs. They can be straight if you're bendy and flexible, and that's available to you. But if you're trying to straighten your legs so hard that you're rounding your spine just to get your heels down, you don't want that. It's better to have a long spine in down dog and to take a generous bend in your knees to start to really encourage your spine to lengthen. Another thing you can do in down dog is to pedal one knee and then the other, so deep bend in the left knee, maybe you even take your hips off to the left, and then bend in the right. So really warming up through this shape. From down dog, we're going to move through a Vinyasa flow. So you hear Vinyasa as a style of yoga very often, but when a yoga teacher will refer to a flow, this is what we are referring to. So we'll go through it a couple times, modifying from basic modifications to the more advanced or a little bit more challenging and rigorous version. Slowly to start, inhale, shift forward. So your shoulders are coming in over your wrists, just like tabletop. Lower your hips down so you've got a long line from the crown of your head down to your heels. Plank pose. Drop your knees down to the mat, untuck your toes, modified plank. And then we will bend at the elbows and lower down all the way to our belly. Take the insides of your elbows and point them toward the front of your space. So that way when you bend your elbows will be pointing back and you can hug your arms into the sides of your body. Deep breath in your modified plank. On your breath out, lower yourself slowly all the way down to the floor, to your mat. Chin will tap down. So that was our exhale. Next comes the inhale. You'll take a back bend, and you have many options for your back bend. One option is to take a Sphinx pose, resting on your elbows and resting your hands down on the mat, lifting your chest, lifting your chin. Good, then slide your hands back under your shoulders and lower yourself down. This time on your inhale, peel your chin and chest up. Keep your hands where they are. Use your back strength to roll your shoulders back to lift your torso up. Baby cobra. Good, then lower down. And then tuck your toes, come back up to downward facing dog. So that was a modified flow. We did 2 back bends there. We'll do another one here. Inhale, shift forward. This time you can keep your knees lifted up off the mat. And as you exhale, lower all the way down until your belly, your thighs, your chin touches down. This time as you inhale, press into your hands, start to straighten out your arms, lift up, keeping your hips down, chin up, high cobra. Good, then exhale, lower down, tuck your toes, coming onto your knees, and then finding your way into downward facing dog. So that's another option that you can take. You can come through tabletop to get to down dog. So now I'll take you through this Vinyasa flow one more time, this time the most rigorous and the most demanding and challenging on your muscles. Inhale, shift forward, high plank, coming up high on your toes and even rolling forward. So you're on high heels. So this way, your shoulders are coming forward beyond your wrists so that when you exhale, you can hug your elbows into your body and your upper arm bones are parallel to the mat. Hips stay lifted. And then as you inhale, you rise up into an upward facing dog. And as you can see, my hips and my thighs are not touching the ground. The only point of contact is my hands and the tops of my feet. So we're here on an inhale. Then we exhale, tuck the toes, and come up to a downward facing dog. Moving on from down dog, inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk your hands so they're behind your feet. Inhale, halfway lift, bring your hands to your shins or to blocks. Send the crown of your head to the front of the room and your hips to the back. So you're lifting up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. And on your inhale, you'll slowly rise up all the way to standing mountain pose or standing at attention, feet directly under your hips. Inhale, lift your arms up high to the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. We'll go through one sun salutation. Looks like this. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Inhale, high plank pose. Exhale, your vinyasa of your choice starts now. Lower down halfway or all the way. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, and we'll go through that again. Inhale, look forward, saluting the sun. Exhale, you can step or you can take a couple little hops forward. Inhale, halfway lift, breath to movement. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolling up. Lift your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Another vinyasa. Maybe you try a different option. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Inhale, high plank or modified. Exhale, this time I'll lower down. This is called Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, I'll take downward facing dog. Moving on. Take your right foot and step it forward. We'll go through some of our lunges and warriors this time. You'll drop your back knee down and release the top of your feet down to the mat. Coming into a modified low lunge, you can lift your arms up here. Open arm twist. Your left arm will come forward and your right arm will come back. For the twist, remember to inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, open up for the twist. Inhale, back up with your arms up. This time, easy twist. Left hand comes on the inside of your right foot. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Open your chest to the right, toward the leg that's in front. From here, you can come into high crescent legs, which means to tuck your back toes and lift your knee up off the mat. Deep breath in and a full breath out. Rise up, and this is high crescent lunge. So you have a deep bend in your front knee, knee over ankle, reaching your arms up to the sky, pinkies point forward. Back heel is lifted, and you can have a soft bend in your back knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, let that go. Plant your hands and go straight to downward facing dog. We'll do that again on the left side. Step your left foot forward. Drop your back knee down, release the toes. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale, back up. Exhale, easy twist, right arm down, left arm up. Open your chest to the left. And then tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up off the mat. High crescent legs, easy twist. Inhale, rise up all the way, lift both arms up. Back heel's lifted, you can have a soft bend in the back knee. Deep breath in. Exhale, release your hands down and come to downward facing dog. This time you'll lift your right toes up off the mat, three-legged dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, step your right foot forward and through. We'll rise up from low lunge. Spin your back heel down so it presses to the mat. Your toes go off to the left. Then as you inhale, you'll lift your chest up. Take your right arm forward and your left arm back. Warrior two. Deep bend in your right knee. Hips and shoulders are open to the left. And you're looking over your front middle finger. Shoulders are stacked over your hips. From warrior two, flip your front palm, reach it up and back, waving it to the back of the room. Your back hand will find your upper thigh and reach it up and back. Big breath in and a breath out. Inhale, come back to warrior two. Exhale, bring your front elbow to your front thigh, extended side angle pose. Your left arm will reach up to the sky, opening your chest to the left. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Take your left hand down, your right hand down to frame your foot. Back heel will spin up. Then go straight to downward facing dog. We'll switch and do that on the left side. Step your left foot forward and through, finding a low lunge. Spin your back heel down so your toes point to the right and your heel is grounded. Inhale, rise up, warrior two. So you're really broad across your chest. Your hips are open to the side. Arms reach in both directions. Your eyes are looking softly over your front middle finger. Standing up tall. Flip your front palm. Reach it up and back. Reverse warrior, also known as peaceful warrior. Inhale, back through warrior two. Exhale, front elbow to front thigh, extended side angle. So keeping a nice bend in the knee, reaching your arm up, maybe you look up. Deep breath in. Exhale, plant your hands down onto the mat and come back into a downward facing dog. Then walk your feet forward and walk your hands back. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up to standing. So I'll face front and we'll go through just a couple standing balancing poses and standing strength poses. So we will begin with chair pose, facing the front of your mat. We'll start off by inhaling your arms straight out in front of you. Separate your feet about hips distance. Inhale, stand up tall. Exhale, send your hips back and bend your knees. Sit down as though you're sitting in a chair. So look down and see if you can start to see your toes underneath your knees. That tells you if your hips and your weight is sitting back enough. And then your arms are that counterbalance to remind you to pull your chest up. Maybe you slightly tuck your tailbone. From chair pose, you can bring your arms up by your ears for challenge, or for more stability, place your hands at your heart. You could also have your hands at your hips if that feels most comfortable to you. Good. Inhale back through center. Then you can come to a single leg mountain, which is simply transferring the weight onto one leg. So on the right side, you start to shift your weight to your right leg, standing up tall. Lift your left toes up off the mat, bending at the knee. Maybe you can clasp on just below the knee on the shin. Inhale, lift up tall. Then we'll transition into warrior three. Bring your hands to your hips or to heart center. As you exhale, start to kick that left foot back behind you. You can keep a micro bend in your right knee instead of locking it out. Start to straighten out your back leg. Send the crown of your head forward to the front of the room. Hips stay closed, pointing down. Start to lift your leg as you lower your torso down. Breathing here. Warrior three. You can reach your arms out long in front of you, out to the side, or even back behind you. So imagining that your body can reach a capital T shape. And you inhale back up and shift it out, pedaling it out. We'll do that on the other side. Shift your weight to your left foot. Hug your right knee into your chest. Stand up nice and tall. This can be really low. You can just practice. Engage your core, hover your right toes up off the mat. If you feel nice and steady, you stand up tall. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart or to your hips and start to kick your right leg back behind you, finding your warrior three. So as you kick your leg, straighten it with a micro bend in your left knee, keeping hips closed, pointing straight ahead and then down. Lower your head, your torso in one line. Maybe you can reach your arms out long in front of you or back behind you. Take another breath. On your breath in, rise all the way back up and shake it out. Now we'll go through a couple cool down poses down on the mat. So starting off seated, we'll go into cobbler's pose or Baddha Konasana. You'll bring the soles of your feet together to touch and then spread your knees out wide. If you want to go a little easier on your hips, you'll draw your knees out farther away from your body. And if you want a little more, you draw them closer together. Grab hold of your feet, thumbs on the inside, fingers on the outside. Start to ground down through your hips, so those hip bones down on the mat. On your inhale, lift up, so long spine, long back, good posture here. As you exhale, fold forward, so start to bend at the elbows. Keep your back long, and then you can allow your head to fall forward. Couple breaths in this fold. Opening the hips. You can even gently draw your elbows into the creases of your knees. Inhale, roll yourself up, and then extend your right leg out long. Draw your left foot to the inside of your right leg, keeping your hips firmly planted into the mat, coming into a single leg forward fold. So inhale, lift your arms up and then twist your chest so your shoulders are square over the leg that's stretched long. Reaching up, deep breath in. And as you breathe out, reach your torso, reach your arms forward. Then grab either for your foot if it's available or for the floor. If you want more on the backs of the legs, you can flex that right foot back and fold. Forehead to knee. If you really like to make that connection, you can bend at the knee slightly. And fold. Breathe in and exhale. Another breath in and another breath out. On your inhale, slowly roll yourself up to seated. Place your hands behind your hips and then extend the opposite leg and then bring the right leg into your inner thigh, keeping your hips planted on the mat. Inhale, reach up tall. Shift your shoulders so they're framing your left leg. Exhale, fold forward, flex your foot back for more intensity. Noticing if that opposite side of your hip is starting to lift up off the mat. You want that hip down on the mat. You'll feel this on that side of your body. In this case, the right side of your body if your left leg is extended. Folding forward, maybe grabbing for your foot, flexing that foot back. Micro bend in the left knee. Good. Inhale, start to roll yourself up. And then extend both legs long in front of you for a seated forward fold. So ground down through your hips. Flex your toes back. Inhale, lift your arms up nice and long. Exhale, fold forward, hinge from the hips. Reach, reach, reach. And then start to fold, flexing the feet. Grabbing for your feet, maybe for your big toes or for your legs, wherever you are today. One more breath. Inhale, rolling back up. From here, we're gonna go into a hip opener pigeon pose. So rolling back through tabletop, we'll take your right knee forward and then angle your foot so it goes off to the left and your right knee goes down to the mat. Draw that heel in towards your body a bit so you can lean on the front knee. Press into your hands and slide back so your back leg extends long. Drawing your right heel in towards your body will make this a little softer and gentler on your hip, but having that front shin more perpendicular to the front of your mat will be a bit more intense on your right hip. So find the shape that feels good in your body. You want your right hip to be down on the mat. So if you're here and your hip is lifted, you'll want to place a pillow, a sweatshirt, or even a block under your hip so you have contact with the floor. So the goal here isn't to get as far as you can, it's to open up and stretch your right hip. So you want to find some length. Once again, you see the common theme of lifting up with a long spine, good posture. And then you'll fold forward, so crawl your hands out slowly. Maybe you come to the forearms, so your elbows are down. And then wherever you are, you'll bow your head forward. 3 nice, slow breaths here. And when you're ready to release, press through your hands. This time we'll just do a transition through downward facing dog. So tuck your left toes and then bring your right toes back to meet your left. You can take those pedals by bending one knee and then the other. And we'll come into it from down dog this time. So take your left knee and bring it forward towards your left wrist. And then bring your toes off to the side, finding that spot that's comfortable for you, sliding your back foot back. So the top of that right leg is on the floor and your left hip is making contact with a block, with the floor, or with a sweatshirt or pillow. Start out with some length in your spine. With a big breath in, maybe you puff up your chest tall. As you breathe out, you crawl your hands forward and rest your forehead down on the mat. Nice deep breaths. When you're ready on your inhale, bring your hands in, lift your torso up, swing your back leg around, stamping your feet into the mat, and then roll all the way down onto your back. So slowly with control, finding the floor, rest down, length of your spine on the floor. From here, we'll go into bridge pose. So your feet will press into the mat and your hands will press down into the mat. Slightly tuck your tailbone, and on your inhale, lift your hips up for bridge pose. So lift your hips, keep your thighs parallel. You don't want your knees splaying out to the side. Lift up. Engage your legs, your glutes. Getting a nice big back bend here. can roll onto the tops of your arms to get more into your back, to puff up your chest. If you've got flexibility in your back and you want a bit more in your bridge pose, you can reach down and clasp your hands together under your body, rolling onto your upper arms, shoulders, pressing your hands down as you drive your hips up to the ceiling. Take one more breath, deep breath in. And a full breath out. Separate your hands if they're together and slowly lower yourself all the way down to your mat. Windshield wiper your knees back and forth. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Give them a big squeeze. And then we'll find happy baby pose, a very common posture for the end of class. So you draw your knees wider toward your armpits and then bring your feet up toward the ceiling. You want to draw your knees into your armpits. That's the goal of this pose. So if you can grab the backs of your legs and push in, that's great. You can grab for your calves, or you can reach for the outer edges of your feet and use your arm strength to pull your knees in, getting that nice hip opening. You can even take some gentle sways side to side, loosening out your low back, a little stretch in the hips. Happy baby pose. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. And hug your knees to your chest. Our final restorative pose of class is supine spinal twist. So you'll see it with your knees together, or you'll see it with one leg extended. And then you'll take, if your right leg is extended and your left leg is in, you'll cross over to the right. So you're crossing over the opposite side of your body, drawing that knee in toward the mat. And taking the opposite arm, extending it out to a T. So perpendicular to your mat. Feeling this nice gentle twist in your spine. Your eyes can be gently looking up at your ceiling or off over your left fingers. Just taking a couple breaths here. If it's more comfortable, you can have both knees together, stacked on top of one another. This should feel good, like a nice, gentle way to close out your yoga practice. On an inhale, your knees will come through your chest to center. And then you'll gently guide either both knees off to one side or extend your left leg and cross your right leg over your midline of your body to the left side of your space. And your right arm will extend long. You'll look over your right hand, softly taking your eyes over your middle finger. Another deep full inhale. Big full exhale. Let it go. Inhale, hug your knees back into your chest. The final pose we'll go through is Savasana. So this is the final resting pose, which you will always find in yoga class. It's tempting as you're starting out yoga to just check out, to leave class, or to not take this final resting pose seriously, but it can be the most beneficial. And it's an entryway into meditation. So you'll have your palms face up. Your feet fall off to the side, your legs can be nice and wide. And whether your instructor guides you through a body scan or not, you can just take this time to scan your body and your mind. Just noticing if you're clenching your muscles, your eyebrows, your jaw, shoulders, chest, just scanning head to toe. Encouraging yourself to relax into the floor. Let the floor support you. While also taking stock of your mind, your thoughts. Noticing if you're not in the present moment without judgment. Remind yourself and guide yourself to be fully present. This is an opportunity to allow the benefits of your yoga practice to sink in, to reflect. So I encourage you to stay here as long as you can. To come out, you'll bend at the knees, roll onto one side into this fetal position, and slowly, even with your eyes shut, press yourself up to a seat. I really hope that this was helpful for you, whether you just needed a refresher on some of the common yoga poses or whether you're preparing to go to your first yoga class. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in my next video.